Alright, this is Bob Joyner recording this on 7/30/2015, which is a Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to take a look at two different US dollar pairs real quick. US dollar Swiss franc. The charts that we're looking at in front of you here is a daily chart on the left, a 4-hour chart in the middle, and a 4-hour chart on the right. And always start out by looking at the left panel and drawing some Fibonacci lines, and I pull from this copy curve low down in here up to the current high. So we take the Fibonacci tool and we just pull it on up here, and that's just to see what our current trend is. Before, just to come back a little bit, this was our high up in here, and as you can see, we came down to the 23% fib line exactly. That's where we met support. And just to kind of catch that up before I move the chart forward here, we had dipped down a little bit in here on the 4-hour copy curve, as you can see. So if we do a Fibonacci analysis from this high down to this low down in here, and we color that one orange, then you'll see some kind of correlating patterns here. You can see where we come up above this 4-hour Fibonacci series at the 23% fib line. You can see the candles kind of pushing down here. These are Fibonacci candles, by the way, on the left panel and on the middle panel. And then right around in here we get the 38% fib line, and the go ahead and go back long on this pair. But you can see on the 23% fib line based from that series, that's right where we tagged and move back up. So now we're going to update the left panel here to get our new Fibonacci series, and we're now back above the line. So what we do is we erase that, and we're going to pull from this low that we just mentioned in here up to the current high. And the reason we do that is we want to see if that pair pulls back 23 to 38% from that line. Then if we haven't already gotten in, then we may want to get in at that point. Check support and resistance lines, of course, and trends, everything else that we check. But also lets us know that if we're just going to jump into the pair, where we might want to watch for possible stops and that sort of thing, which of course is a more risky way to go. But right now, if you're trading the smaller time frames, then you can use this as a context. If you're drilling down to day trading chart, then you can use this very bullish context in order to jump into day trades. Looking also at the US dollar Japanese yen. So we're going to do our little analysis here. We came down briefly, as you can see here, but I'm just going to count this move up in here since that was so brief and just barely, if anything, went below the line there. The EMA on the copy curve on the daily chart did not drop below the zero line here. So I'm going to pull from this low up to this high for the Fibonacci series on US dollar Japanese yen. And we'll come back and do a little bit of Ichimoku analysis on the daily charts for both pairs in just 1 second. So we had this most recent pullback, which was in here. Again, a very brief pullback from here basically down to there. So we're going to draw that Fibonacci series in orange. So I'm just using the orange lines to stand out from the daily Fibonacci series, and these kind of overlap and just makes it kind of interesting. You can also use Fibonacci series, of course, on your day trading charts as well. So we came down to this low back in here as we tested the zero line here on the daily, came up above the 23, and that's right around the area where we had our Fibonacci trend change. And then we move back above the 23, as you can see here on the daily chart, and that gives us our confirmation right in here. Get my drawing tools here. So two different areas. Here we had our Fibonacci trend change in the 4-hour charts, right at the 23% fib line on the smaller time frame Fibonacci series. And then right in here we get the double confirmation. We get the 23% fib line from the daily chart, and we get the 38% fib line from the 4-hour chart. And then as you see, that becomes our double area of support, and we move straight back up. So again, this series also very bullish at this time. Almost have a fresh daily crossover of the Kopek curve on its EMA down here on the daily chart. On the middle panel here, just to come back a little bit, this shows a 4-hour Kumo coming up above the 16-hour Kumo here on US dollar Japanese yen, so a more bullish move as well. So everything pushing up here. We do have some overhead resistance that you can see at a much higher level, but that's over 100 pips away. We're also moving above the daily Kumo, as you can see here, so we're above the 4-hour, 16-hour, and daily Kumo here on the US dollar Japanese yen. And if we look at that in terms of the US dollar Swiss franc, we also see the same thing. We're above the 4-hour, 16-hour Kumos, and we're above the daily Kumo over here on the left for the US dollar Swiss franc as well. Chikou span is pushing above the historical price curve. Price is above the Tenkan Sen. Tenkan Sen's above the Kaijin Sen. Kaijin Sen's above Kumo. So just to talk Ichimoku talk for a second, that's all very bullish analysis. Coming back to the US dollar Japanese yen, not quite as bullish on that one. However, Chikou span, as you can see in the purple line here, has moved above the historical price curve. Tenkan Sen crossed over Kaijin Sen down here inside the Kumo, which is not as bullish again as the US dollar Swiss franc pair, but it is still a bullish trend. So a lot of information in that video covering two pairs in this little video. Hope that's helpful for you as you trade the market.